What's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 16 of building Twitter using UIKit and Google's Firebase. So in the last part, we pushed all the data regarding the tweet onto Google Firebase. In this episode though, we're going to retrieve those information back and populate our user table view, or basically the tweets table view inside our home view controller. So without further ado, let's just get started. Alright, so basically I decided to make a small change regarding the tweet model that we have. As you can see here, basically we have an ID for the tweet itself, and basically we have an object for the user. Basically right down here, I'm just going to add a new ID for the user as well, so that we can use this to query this from Firebase. Actually, the Twitter user as well has the same ID. However, we cannot actually query multiple levels inside Firebase, so we can just basically expose that author ID out here, and then we can use that author ID to tweet, or basically get our tweets from Firebase. So let's just go back in here and delete this tweet because it's not gonna be working anymore. So basically delete document from here, and let me just go back to my view model over here, and as you can see here, we have a dispatch for this tweet. We're just going to get an error because we've added a new attribute, which is the author ID. And over here, I'm just going to pass the user.id over here. And basically, this is how I can query this this tweet one more time. And basically we can just fix that because we just need to make sure that the order of this attributes matches the one that we have over here. Basically, Xcode is smart enough, it will prompt you to change that as well. Alright, so as you can see here, we can just run that basically run that to dispatch a new tweet, so that we can actually see that inside Firebase. So let me just open the dashboard over here. Once I'm able to basically dispatch my tweet, just going to populate over here. So over here, let me just say something like hello world, right? So basically that's the standard text that we do. So tweet, and as you can see here, yes, we get a new tweet over there, and basically it says everything that I've written. So basically, yeah, it says hello world over here, and the most important thing is that I have the basically the ID for the user as well over here. All right, so let me just go back to my home view controller, and inside of here we just need to fetch all the tweets and basically update this and configure our cells to display the content of this tweets, along with the profile or the avatar for the user and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so basically this should be starting from here, from the database manager, and over here let me just create a new function. So function collection tweets. Alright, and here we're going to get so collection tweets, maybe we can write something like retrieve tweets, all right, for user ID, and basically this is just going to be a string. And over here, let me just say that this is just going to return an any publisher. This any publisher should return me an array of tweets, and basically an error if there is any. Alright, so basically let me just reference my database over here, and I'm going to choose the tweets path, and over here let me just say where field. So basically I'm just going to choose the is equal. So yeah, this is the one. So basically we're just going to compare this field that we have over here, which is the author ID. So author ID, let me just copy that field over here. So I want to make sure that the author ID is equal to the for user ID. Basically, I'm just filtering out the tweets inside my collection based on this field. If this field is equal to my ID, that means this tweet belongs to me. Then this should actually get multiple variables, or basically multiple values or documents. So basically, let me just say get documents. And over here, let me just use the try map to get the documents. And over here, we're just going to try map one more time because we're going to retrieve those as basically a snapshot, an array of query document snapshot over here. We just need to change that to the array of tweets. So basically, let me just say something like, let me just name that snapshots. All right, so snapshots. And over here, let me just say try snapshots.map. Right, and basically this is the single snapshot that I'm going to get. So basically the single snapshot. Right, and over here, let me just say try, and basically I just need to access this, or basically we can just remove this and use the shortcut of Swift. So I'm just gonna say data as tweet.self, and that should return an array of tweets. Finally, we just need to erase this to any publisher, and I believe that's it. Yeah, we just need to add a try here as well. This method might throw an error. So yeah, basically that's it. So basically we just need to query our database inside the tweets path where the author ID is equals to my ID, and then we're going to get the documents, and for each document we're going to map each one of them to my tweet model over here, and then we're just going to retrieve that and erase that to any publisher. So at the end we get an array of tweets. Let me just go back to my home view model over here, and basically we can just create a new function that says retrieve tweets, or basically fetch tweets. That looks much nicer. And over here we can just say database manager.shared.retrieve tweets. I'm just going to pass in my ID. So user ID is just going to be auth.auth, or basically I have actually the reference for my user over here. So let me just say user.id, which is going to be else return if it's empty. And over here, let me just pass in my user ID, and here we can just sync completion week self, right? And over here, let me just say completion, which is going to be equals to if case failure. Let me get this error. And over here, let me just say error.error, right? So error, this is just going to be error.localized description. And over here, I get an array of tweets that looks so much cleaner. That looks so much clean actually. So yeah, we can just add this published variable over here. So published variable tweets, it's just going to be an array of tweet, and basically let me just set that to an empty array for now. And here we can just say retrieved tweets. Let me just add this week self as well. So self.tweets is just going to be equals to the retrieve tweets, and over here we can just store that in my subscription set. All right, and then we can actually use this fetch tweet once we are loaded with the home view controller. However, I can be more smart about it, and then if I can get this thing to be fired after this one over here, so let me just do that. So over here we can just say something like flat map, or not flat map actually, we can just handle events, and since we can receive an output from here, receive output, yes, that's the one. I can just ignore this user for a moment, and here we can just say fetch tweets. And yeah, I believe that's it. I don't need anything else. So yeah, then we need to actually explicitly reference this. So yeah, week self, and optional, and dot, and basically we can just retrieve all the tweets once the user has been retrieved. So basically that's it. That's the beauty of using combine. We can actually chain our network calls and make sure that one is going to be fired after the other, even though those are all asynchronous coding and asynchronous function. We don't know actually the exact time that those functions are going to, or those values are going to be present inside our view models. All right, so let me just go back to my home view controller over here, and I want to write inside my bind views over here. So let me just say view model dot tweets, but the one with actually the publisher one. I'm just going to sync over that. So basically here we get a reference to our tweets. So tweets, and over here we can just change we can actually change the data source for this. So for the table view, the count is just going to be the count of the tweets. All right, so basically we can just say something like here, let me just remove this. So view model dot tweets dot count. And over here, once we get new tweet, we can just reload this table, or do just that in just a second. And basically, we need to, we just need to make sure to reload our table once we have tweets over here. So let me just ignore those for a moment. Maybe I can change that later. And over here, let me just add my weak self for this table. So self.table view or timeline table view. As you can see here, we can just reload data. However, since this is just going to be done in a background thread, we just need to reload the data or the table view inside my main view, or basically my main thread. So dispatch queue.main.async, and over here we can just add this method over here. All right, so once we get our tweets, we're just going to refresh we're going to reload our table view, and our table view is just going to get the count of the tweets, which I'm assuming is just going to be one tweet, as you can see over here. So let me just hit build and run to see if that is actually working. And I'm also thinking to drop this tweet table view cell delegate, and instead using combine to communicate between basically the cell actually and the home view controller, or basically the table view. All right, so basically, as you can see here, we got nothing because I don't believe actually we stored this subscription anywhere. So this subscription is basically not there as yet. So store this subscription into our subscription set, hit Command R to build and run, and I believe that should be working. So yeah, we just binded our views, we just loaded our tweets once our user is here, and I believe it's just going to appear here any minutes right now. All right, so as you can see here, we get a empty screen. However, we expected to see at least one tweet, but this is happening because in this retrieve user, actually, whenever we are trying to fetch our tweets, this user hasn't been initialized yet. It's just still an optional one. However, we don't need actually to ignore that over here. So let me just get that user from here. And before actually calling this fetch tweet function, I'm just going to reference my user and assign that to user. I believe this is just going to work because we have everything is in setup right now in a correct order. All right, so let me just see if that is working. And yeah, as you can see here, we finally retrieved our tweet directly from the server. So now let me just work on populating this fields with the correct information. So let me just go back to my home view controller, and inside of here, inside my table tweet table view cell, I'm just going to expose a new configuration function. So first of all, let me just delete this lines. I'm not going to need that anymore. Let me just delete the username, the text for the display name as well, and the image view. I'm not going to need that. All right, and I believe that's it for the configuration that needs to be done. And yeah, basically, let me just move down here. So let me just create a new configuration function over here. So let me just type func configure tweet. All right, so configure tweet with. This is just going to be the user. So Twitter user. And here is basically, I can just configure that with the tweet itself. So with model. All right, so with model. And basically the model of this is just going to be the tweet. And basically over here, let me just say something like display name label dot text. That should be equals to the model dot I believe the author, which is the Twitter user. And basically here we can just access the display name. And for the username label dot text, this is just going to be equals to the @. And basically we can just add in here the model dot the author, not the author ID, but the username for that. And here we can just say tweet text content label dot text. That should be equals to the model dot tweet content. All right. And the avatar image view as the set image with the URL. This URL is going to be from the model dot the author dot the avatar path. Right, so we're going good. So I believe the avatar, the display name, the username, and the tweet text content, all of that should be changed with the model of the tweet. However, I'm not sure that actually knowing this is a good way, because I don't want to couple my view to my model. Basically, I don't want to make the view know anything about the model. All right, so basically we can change that. So we can just add display name as a normal string, username as well, and over here we can just say tweet text content. This is going to be a string as well, and the avatar path also a string. And over here we can just say that this is just going to be the avatar path. And basically we don't have a model anymore. And let me just delete that. So yes, that's the one. Display name, that should also be gone. So basically now our basically tweet text content. So basically the view itself for the cell doesn't know anything about the model that we're gonna be using. It just takes plain text over here. So basically this is just a good way for decoupling your views. So let me just go back to my home view controller, and inside of here we can just say cell.configure. I believe it's going to work. So configure, basically let me just see, what did I call that function? So down here, configure tweet, yes, that's the one. So configure tweet with display name, which we're going to get that from our model. So let me just say basically we can just access that directly from the view model. So let me just break that into multiple lines. So as you can see here, view model dot tweets, I'm just going to access the index path dot row, and over here we can just say the display name should be we should be able to get that from the author dot display name. All right, so basically we're going to use that multiple times. So yeah, let me just say let tweet model, and that should be equals to view model dot tweets dot row. Right, so that's the one, the index path dot row. And over here, let me just say to tweet model dot author dot display name, tweet model dot author dot username, tweet model dot tweet content, and over here the avatar path should be available inside the tweet model dot the author dot the avatar path. So I believe that's it, and basically this is more than enough for configuring our table view. So let me just hit build and run to see if that is actually working, and I'm actually getting a good sense that this is actually going to work. Yeah, this is basically we've been coding for so long, so we can wait until we retrieve everything. And as you can see here, we have retrieved finally the avatar for my tweet, or basically for my user over here, my display name, and also my username over here, and my tweet text content. Maybe we can just delete this space between the username and the @ sign. And basically, yeah, that's it. So that's it for this tutorial. I'm really excited that we are nearly we're approaching the final shape of our app. Our app right now is working flawlessly, and basically we kept a clean code structure across the entire project. So that's it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed what you just saw, please hit that like button, consider subscribing to my channel, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section down below. So once again, that was Amr, and happy coding and stay safe.